Okay, we're about to take a close look at a final exam paper. Now, I know what you're thinking, but hang with me, because this isn't just any test. It's like a window into the very soul of a nation, showing us its values, its struggles, and what it hopes for the future. I want you to think back for a second. The last big exam you ever took. What was the point? I mean, what was it all really for? The usual answers pop into your head, right? It's a hurdle you have to jump. It's about measuring what you memorized, slapping a grade on it, and hopefully getting into college or landing a job. It's pretty much just a means to an end. But what if an exam was designed to do more than just see what you know? What if it was a tool to actually help shape who you become, not just as a student, but as a person and even as a citizen? That's exactly what we're going to dig into today. We are deconstructing the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education English paper. And honestly, what's inside is just fascinating. It's this carefully built journey that walks students through social justice, political corruption, and really deep cultural identity.
So, how does this exam even begin to build that journey? Well, right from the very first page, it throws students straight into the deep end, with stories that really reflect the messy, complicated parts of modern life.
See, the test doesn't kick off with some dry, boring academic article. No, it opens with a super tense family drama. We meet a man named Kwame and his wife of 10 years, Akosua. And he comes to her with what he calls an offer, but believe me, it is anything but generous. And there it is, just like that. Kwame, who's just gotten a little bit of social status, decides he wants to, discard Akosua, the very wife who supported him all those years when he was struggling. He offers to pay her off like she's an old piece of furniture, not the mother of his 3 kids. And this is where you really see this stark power imbalance. Kwame is completely obsessed with his public image, becoming a counselor, joining the right clubs. Meanwhile, Akosua married under a customary law that, as the text points out, in no way safeguards the position of the woman, is basically reduced to a general servant. So students aren't just being tested on reading comprehension, they're being forced to analyze big themes like gender inequality, the emptiness of social climbing, and the injustice that can be baked right into tradition.
Okay, so from the injustice happening inside a single home, the exam zooms out to look at the injustices happening in society as a whole. And the next section does this using a piece from a play called The Samaritan.
Now, this is such a brilliant way to teach civics through literature. Students are reading a scene where city officials are just openly brainstorming how to shut down a teacher who's trying to expose their corruption. I mean, look at this list. They're talking about creating chaos, framing her for a crime, leaning on the judge. This isn't just a story. It's literally a playbook for how corruption works in the real world, and the students have to pick apart the characters' motivations and their methods. So after confronting all of these very modern, very real problems, the exam takes this really interesting turn. It shifts away from the challenges of today and dives into the timeless wisdom you can find in traditional oral literature.
So in this section, students get this folktale. It's about a boy whose own father basically throws him away, leaves him for dead, over something as small as letting a squirrel escape. But the boy is saved and raised by a kind, wealthy headman, and he grows up to be a huge success. Years go by and the biological father shows up again, not to apologize, but to demand that his son give up this new life and go back to his old one. Things escalate until the headman, the adoptive father, hands the son a sword and gives him this terrible ultimatum. Kill one of the 2 of us. Wow. Just think about the weight of that question for a second. The exam is asking these teenagers to wrestle with this massive moral dilemma. What do you owe the father who gave you life, but also tried to end it? And what do you owe the father who saved your life and gave you everything? There is no easy answer here. It's a test of some really deep moral reasoning, all rooted in cultural storytelling. So the exam has presented these huge, complicated issues of justice, corruption, and morality. But what's the point if you can't actually articulate what you think about them? That's where this last section comes in. You could call it the toolkit. See, the grammar section isn't just about memorizing a bunch of abstract rules. It's about building the weapons you need for a good argument. Just look at this example. You start with 2 simple, separate sentences. The principal noticed serious laxity among the students. He warned them against such behavior. It works, sure, but it's a little clunky. But by combining them using a present participle, you get one fluid, much more forceful idea. Noticing serious laxity among the students, the principal warned them. The whole statement just feels more dynamic, more sophisticated.
Mastering the language isn't just some academic chore. It's presented as the crucial skill you need to effectively debate and challenge the very injustices we just saw earlier in the test.
So when you finally step back and you look at the entire paper, from the family drama to the political corruption, from the ancient folktale to the sentence structure, a really clear picture starts to form. This is not a random collection of questions. It's a curriculum for how to be a citizen. This whole exam is designed to build a very specific kind of person. It teaches critical analysis through Akasua's story. It builds social awareness with those corrupt officials in the Samaritan. It deepens moral reasoning without folktale's impossible choice. It provides cultural grounding by making that same story important. And finally, it gives students the power of clear communication to talk about all of it. It's an entire education packed into a single test.
So we've just seen how a test can be a mirror, right? Reflecting what a society really cares about and acting as a tool to shape the next generation to be critical and ethical and articulate. And, well, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does the final exam in your country reveal about what your society truly values? What story is it trying to tell?